A Solar Tour by Manka. At this time, I shall conduct you on a tour of our solar system, as if all of you were present aboard one of our craft. We leave your planet's surface, and our craft gradually spirals inward toward the light of this system, the Sun. The first object which draws our interest is the planet known to your peoples as Mercury. As we draw closer to this one, we notice the great contrast between light and darkness. We view its rotation, burningly hot on one side and bitterly cold on the other. This planet, my brothers, we use as an observation and experimental station due to its close proximity to your Sun. It proves most valuable. There is no native life on this planet. The only life exhibited is from our people's installations and bases. Much knowledge of benefit to mankind has come from this one. Now, having observed its barrenness, we progress outward, and that which lies before us is indeed a beautiful sight. The planet spoken of in your mythology, the goddess of love. And truly, the sight of this one, wrapped in its dazzling gown of white clouds, is one of great beauty. I speak now of Venus. The sun's rays dance brilliantly off these clouds, imparting an aura of great loveliness. These clouds, artificially maintained, help create a greenhouse effect on this planet's surface. Now, let us leave this one and proceed to one perhaps more familiar to you, your own planet, the green emerald of the solar system, the Earth. This is a most inspiring sight. Your planet, my brothers and sisters, is one which has contributed much to its neighbors. But since we are speaking of other things at the moment, let us move on. And proceeding outward, we see that bright red gleam in your evening skies, that planet known to your astronomers as Mars. Unfortunately, due to your mythology, with terms of violence associated, which is quite untrue. The only violence on this, my planet, is in our struggle against the elements. Now, as we glide in close to this one, we find evidence that indicates that man has been on this one for a considerable length of time. Here we see the remains of great civilizations along the silent lengths of the canals. But the planet is not dead, as we note that huge shafts lead into this planet's interior. For you see, people of Earth, most of our living area and industry is underground. As our craft circles this one, we see evidences of great activity. Our instruments record the presence of vast industrial progress. Here, we discover that most of the spacecraft used by the Confederation in this sector of space are manufactured. Here, the civilization represents a picture of great antiquity, but the very nature of the planet's appearance indicates a type of vitality, a drive, and suggests monumental efforts, and the spark that has created a type of people and a race that survives. On our left, we see high mountain chains, purple plateaus, crimson deserts, and at the poles, as our craft approaches, a lovely green area where a city of scintillating splendor greets our eyes. Mars is far from the usual decay, thought to be a partner of great age, as our eyes record. Since this is my planet, I thought it in order to explain these things. Now, as we depart and circle outward, what do we behold but a swirling dervish, a ring of tiny fragments that known to you as the asteroid belt, the remains of a planet, Moldak. These remnants whirl around my planet from which life sprang in this system. We look closer now and behold the mightiest of all the planets in this solar system, the one known as Jupiter. Truly, this is a singular sight to gaze upon, with its many moons circling about it, those that were created and those natural from the point of creation. We look down on size that begins to dim one's comprehension of size. We see huge cloud flotillas, mighty land masses, tremendous oceans, and the oldest civilization prevalent in this solar system. Here reside those beings which overlook man's fares in this sector of space. This is truly the birthplace of human life upon your planet. Gaze with wonder and awe. Look upon the majesty of this, the home and cradle of man and this solar system. For here we see and here dwells those mighty beings of the Adamic race. The shimmering haze about this one blinds your telescopes to the realities present. For the effects of light, distorted by this one's glowing field of force, hides the truth from the eyes of men upon your planet. For we find that the air is light and balmy. It is vibrant, for we see an atmosphere golden in color, and great beings, native to this one, whose skin is of golden radiance. Beings, fair-haired and majestic. We also see here a civilization that exists partly between the physical and the etheric. Whenever we are close to this one, our very beings leap in recognition, and we send our thoughts of love and gratitude. Let us now proceed again outward, and we approach the planet known to you as Saturn, the law guardian for this system. Here are found the courts of equality. Here again, your music describes compassion and understanding, the necessary ingredients of true guardianship. In the hours of daylight, brief as they are, The sun's rays glance off the tall marble structures. We see halls, we see pavilions. Everywhere about us, the architecture seems to stand symbolic of these ones and their administration of the Great Radiance. Here also, we find a native race whose very essence is a life of balance and harmony, brought about by their understanding of the great laws of cause and effect. Now, as we gradually spiral upwards again in our craft, we see their moons, their areas of recreation, set as they are amid the halo of shimmering light provided by their force fields, described as they are by your people as rings. We are afforded a vista of truly enchanting splendor, horizons vast beyond comprehension, open vistas to our eyes, for we watch as this one whirls through the brief hours of daylight and dusk. And now, as we move on and spiral out, we come next to a lovely sight. The planet known to you as Neptune, the bearded one with his trident. We see here, my brothers, a planet whose atmosphere glows with an electric blue color. We see evidence, as we circle closer, that here in evolution, traversing along a different route, has progressed through the physical, and all life exists as etheric. We find a native race existing in the shadowy outlines of coruscating light, and they welcome our presence. A feeling of great joy pervades our bodies as these ones unleash wave on wave of welcome. As we pause our craft and hover, we see wave after wave of color greeting our eyes. But there is little to see upon this one surface, lovely as it is, for all life seems to abound in the very air itself. Great shadowy outlines of these ones drift upon the currents of the air itself from one place to another. The clouds about us shape and reshape in formations resembling truly cathedrals in the sky, as these ones direct their thoughts to the molding of matter itself. We sense the relation, as beside our craft a shape begins to materialize, and the thought invades our minds that this is a gift in appreciation of our visit. Below us there forms, from thought alone, a replica of your earth, conceived by these great minds, rotating slowly on its axis, bathed in the rich emerald colors known throughout the galaxy. Visitors from many regions stop here to see the greatest works of mental art exhibited, and to see these people. This art is their export, their gift to man, scattered as he is along the galactic lands. For these ones provide beauty as their talent. Let us hope, my brothers and sisters, that soon you shall witness these things for yourselves. Let us move on now and examine the next site, for we see the planet known as Uranus. Force fields control the environment and climate of Uranus in various areas and also shield those effects from outside observation. Here, our eyes tell us it is not a cold, frigid, desolate waste, but a world with a certain warmth. No cold is encountered as we descend and see a lovely land of rolling meadows and softly flowing forests. There is very little water on this planet, but the rich clouds above us do assure an adequate supply for the lush vegetation present below on the surface. Here also is a native race, wise with experience, controlling their ionosphere to produce this garden spot at the near edge of the solar system. Now, as we continue gliding along, we see the tiniest of coves, little bays and inlets along the coast of the only ocean present. Here, also, we come upon the Uranians, a race noted for their powers of observation, a race that provides trained navigators for the space fleets of many galaxies. But now let us move out again and view the remaining planet left, the one known as Pluto. The dazzling white glare of this one can be seen from a great distance and would seem to indicate the presence of, perhaps, a frigid world. But again, our eyes are deceived, for as we spiral inward, we notice that no frozen wastes greet our eyes, but instead mighty rolling dunes of bleached white sand. For my brothers and sisters, Pluto is an arid desert world. No native life is in evidence, but as we swing around this one's equator, we do notice the presence of man, and on a gigantic scale. For here are the great spaceports, the trade centers, the planet that is the hub of trade relations throughout this section of the galaxy. The presence of large shelters, mammoth loading areas, huge ramps and expressways come into sight as we glide along, an activity vast beyond belief. We see the spacecraft from 100 different suns, from all the reaches of the galaxy, berthed in their cradles, and the unloading and loading of strange cargoes. Man here stands face to face with man from all parts of the galaxy. Sometimes they even stare at one another's exhibits of progress from these many worlds. I believe the women of your planet would never leave this place, for we have noted their great curiosity when on excursions to procure goods. This is the heart of man's trade and exchange qualities. Pluto, a desolate planet, devoid of native life, but tamed and converted to man's uses, a feat proclaiming man's eagerness to still utilize the light of creation. Now, since there is little of interest left here, let us move on and outward toward a point several million miles beyond the orbit of Pluto. Here, a strange sight comes to our vision. For we see a huge platform in space, an artificially created world, a miniature planet. As we draw closer, we see a thriving metropolis, landing berths of tremendous size. Here, the mighty starships, too large to ever touch a planet's surface, are moored in space, their cargoes unloaded and ferried to Pluto by more conventional craft. Here, also, we see the legendary ships from the planets of the star known as Procyon. These craft represent technologies and evolutions of a most advanced form of man. An estimate of the age of these ones approaches what could be called in your terminology an age of over 50 billion years. Now, as our craft circles, we descend and land on a large stage, high in the upper reaches of this metropolis. We disembark for a few moments and proceed to a viewing platform. Here we stand. Before us are the stars of an entire universe, presenting a challenge which has fired our imagination as well as yours. Here we gaze upon infinity. For in over 20 megatrillion years of space travel, my brothers and sisters, we have never yet found an end. There always lies infinity before us. We stand here, somewhat humbled, for here we see a majesty that staggers the mind. Here we gaze upon the awesomeness of a universe. Here we see that which was orderly created, not for the puny explorations of man, but for the creation of self and being, of experience and growth, of the true learning of all wisdom and knowledge. Here we stand upon a platform, a threshold overlooking the universe. And now we turn and look back over this miniature atom that we call our solar system. Let us try and envision its place in relationship to all that lies about it. Parsec upon parsec of space, galaxies ad infinitum. We stand in wonderment and we think, how small are we in this limited vastness, but yet how proud we are. For this, my brothers and sisters, is man's attainment. His effort to reach toward that which he knows is supreme, the one that is all. Here we behold the handiwork of man. And as we now turn and once again face outward, we behold the handiwork of our Creator. Beauty and majesty arrayed before us, and behind us, man striving towards this goal. The realization comes to us that all life everywhere in the universe is striving for kinship or reunion with the essence from which it all came, for reunion. And now, my brothers and sisters, we must return. We board our craft and slowly spiral inward towards your planet, the Earth. We trust that this little excursion beyond the confines of your world has brought the realization that you are not alone in this cosmic mansion. that these halls are peopled, and that those of Earth have, as a part of their heritage, a rightful place in this drama of evolution and interstellar effort. You have been tourists for the past few moments, but you shall soon be participants. It has been my privilege to escort you on this tour, but now I must leave. I am Manka. Adonai Vasul Barakas.